Go. Okay. So anyway, for those of you online, we're waiting for Larry and Stacy to show up. Beth, are you here? Could you turn this down just a tiny, tiny bit? And then when Larry gets here, we can bring it up a little again. So, how are you? They're coming from Eagle Mountain, but they should be here. Oh, right there. They're here. No, it's okay. Good deal. So I'm just answering questions. But come on in. Larry, you're looking better. You know? Yeah, I can tell you're getting more energy. You're starting to come around, isn't it?
Walking on 2 legs now. So,
Extends 4, exactly. Hi, Stacey. How are you?
Hi,
Good to see you.
good. How are you? And thank you everybody for coming tonight.
Let's see. I'll do, but let me answer. Let me grab one of these. And okay, so for those online, we're going to be starting in just a few minutes, but people had questions about different things, so I'm going to be answering a few questions while they get all set up. But go ahead. What was your question?
Okay, so the new workbook
Yes,
that you've been working on for 10 years.
not 10 years,
Oh,
but
for-
yeah, I did one 8 years ago, but I've been working on it for the last year.
oh,
So-
okay. So those of us who are members can add it to what we have.
Absolutely. And so you guys get discounts. So anybody who's a member is going to be able to get the new workbook at a discount. So I got to see how much a workbook's going to cost me because it's almost 300 pages now. And so right now online for the 170 page one, it's $50, but members get it for $20. So we might have to take it to 25 or 30, but still you save a bunch of money as a member. So, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Any other questions or anything else before we get started? All right. If not, then I'm going to have you guys kind of move up a little bit. We're going to be filming this. Actually, if you guys are okay, how about you guys? Can you guys move up and fill in these seats a little bit? And we're going to be filming it, and I just kind of want to have people up front so it's easy to give the microphone to people, and we can have it all recorded for the people who could not make it tonight. Okay, so if anybody doesn't mind moving up, that would help us out. So cool. All right. Any other thoughts? Any other ideas? Any other whatever? Okay.
are there any folks here today that were not here last time?
Okay. Is anybody here for the first time, or all of you guys were here during the last class, right? Okay. Sweet. Awesome. So let's do this. We're going to be recording this. You guys organize it the way you want to. And Ron, do you want to come up too, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, come up, Ron.
Okay, Ron. No, but I'm gonna have you guys do a little introduction, and so get up here on the seat. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys microphones. Okay, so there. Go ahead and test that out.
Testing 1, 2.
That's pretty good. And then I'm going to let me ask you this: do you want to wear this, or do you want to talk in this so you can put it closer? So you can go closer to your mouth or whatever you want. Because last time, okay, you want to do a rare? Okay.
Otherwise I'll forget.
All right. So what we'll have to do is you two need to not always.
I don't need them.
Well, we have 3. So unless you want that one, he does this one.
No, I can do that. I don't
Okay.
care.
So Beth, can you turn up the hand mic just a little tiny bit? And then let me do this. I'm going to have you hold this. Check 1, 2. Test, test, test. There it goes. Okay, we got it. Test that out. I'm going to put this.
Testing.
You're going to keep this on the whole time, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put this closer to your mouth.
At least that'll be my intention.
Okay, perfect. And that should work out. Let's do a quick mic check.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Look up at me.
No.
Okay. Look up at me.
Mic check,
Or
1,
maybe
2,
since I
3.
am going to
You're
be
good?
showing stuff. Maybe. Okay, we are going to switch.
Okay, let's do.
Then I have both hands.
Good. That's perfect. And then sing us a song. Or do.
I don't sing at all.
Okay, there you go. Let's put it up there. Let's see.
Testing 1, 2.
Okay, it's a little low.
It's a bit low.
Um,
But that's okay because
how's the mic? Is it okay?
Actually, this, I don't know if it's going to work on my shirt.
hand mic 1, 2.
I don't think this works on
I just
shirts
need to
that go up
swallow
to your
it.
neck.
No, let me do this. Okay, I'm gonna make it so. Let me just try to think this out. Let's go with this. No, it's gonna brush too much. Okay, give that a try.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
You're good.
Okay.
Okay, if it hangs too much, we do this. Let's make it so it doesn't hang as much. That's actually, if you turn the other way, you're not going to be heard. So same there. Okay, so I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, take one. Let's go ahead and do. I'm going to grab this. Let's go ahead and get started. For those online, we're going to be recording this. Can you guys move a little bit more towards the middle and towards the front is what we need, as much as you can. Is somebody sitting there? Okay, perfect. And then I'm probably going to need somebody to do Mike. Would that be okay? Oh, he's got it. Would you mind doing this? If people have questions, I need you guys to raise your hands before you ask the question. He's going to bring this to you, okay? That way we can get that online for everybody else. Deal? Okay. And then that way we can hear everyone. So you're in charge of the mic.
I can move a mic.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with this training. And let's start with introductions. And then you guys take over. I'm going to go back there and just run the camera.
Okay, good evening. What we do in all of our classes and all of our meetings is we ask a student or one of the people attending if they would start the class off with a prayer. Would anyone like to do that for us this evening? Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're so grateful and thankful for this opportunity to learn from our teachers and learn the skills of marksmanship. Thank you for Marcelo and his team and helping us to prepare. Grateful for this beautiful day and ask you for Thy Spirit to be with us and that we'll be able to follow instructions and be able to learn something new. And these things we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a flag?
Oh, right there. Straight ahead. Up here.
In
Oh,
the
yes.
raptor.
Same place it was last time. Would you please stand and face the flag and join us in the flag salute? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, please. Thank you.
So most of you, well, all of you were here last time. Again, Larry and myself, Stacy. This time we brought one of our main instructors. Ron is always there. I think maybe in all the years, he's been with us pretty much from the beginning, and he's amazing. He's just, and especially like after I had Wyatt, he took over my job and stepped in and he's really helped us out a lot. And he's just a wonderful friend, and we're really glad that he came here. He's definitely one of those friends you can always count on. So, and this is Ron, and you will see him pretty much at all of your training days. I think out of all these years, he's missed 1 or 2 days for something really important that came up. Otherwise, he is always there doing the classes. So he's here to help us with questions and to answer questions tonight. The reason why we wanted to come this evening is to help. We have an equipment list. I believe most of you, well, all of you in the June class got the list last night in an email, hopefully. If you're in the July or August or September class, it's coming. But I'm glad you came tonight because it'll be very helpful. The equipment list is 4 or 5 pages long, and for those who are new to this whole subject matter, it can be overwhelming. So to physically see some of these things that we want you to be able to go out and acquire is incredibly helpful. So that's what we're here to do, to help and answer specific questions and to explain all of the things and the reasons, the whys, and of why we are so specific in, the kind of equipment that we want you to buy for the class. So I'm just, for
Yes.
starters,
I'd like to start with this, not very positive, but it's still important. Samuel Clemens said, education consists primarily of unlearning. In our business, that is 100% true. Everyone comes to us with tendencies and experiences. Some people have shot a lot, some haven't shot, or they've shot and that little bit of shooting they've done has created tendencies within them. We have an expression, and we say the reason that we train is to overcome our tendencies and previous experiences and learn to do things in a better way. So what we're asking you right now is, between now and your class, please, I beg you, do not shoot. Do not shoot. How many of you never shot a handgun before? Raise your hand. And I'd be willing to put money right now that these will be our best shooters. They always are.
Did you ask who has not or who has?
I said, who has
yeah,
not?
who has not
Did I say it
shot before?
backwards? Who has not shot before? One?
And you, sir, in the back?
No, just
Okay.
the one. Invariably, she
Two.
will.
We have two.
He will.
We have the lady
Which
in
one?
front here, and yeah, the gentleman
Okay.
in the back.
Okay. The likelihood is they will be our best shooters. Why? They're a clean slate. They have no bad habits. They do not have to unlearn anything. And they will generally be the top shooters in any given class.
It doesn't mean others will not be awesome, because you guys still will be. It's just, it's a little more challenging because you're going to unlearn some things at the same time you're trying to learn. That's all.
The more you have to unlearn, the more work you have to do. And if you have very little experience, you generally don't have much to unlearn.
But the reason we bring that up is sometimes people think, well, I've never shot before, so I need to run out and go get some experience, go shoot, go to an indoor range, go shooting with some friends really quick. And in that time, you end up acquiring really bad habits, and you're not doing yourself any favors. So if you've never shot before, don't worry about it. You actually have an advantage.
Chances are we're going to change the way you grip the pistol, the way you stand with the pistol, the part of the finger that you press the trigger with, how you press that trigger. We're going to probably be changing everything you're doing. And so if you just get one more practice in, you're going to be that much harder to train. Good? Okay. So we're going to start off talking about firearms.
Yes. How many of you already have a firearm that you think you're going to use or want to use?
How many do
Okay.
not? How many do not? Okay.
Okay.
We've got several prop guns. They're real guns, but guns we'll use to check your hand fit and so on. At some point during the evening, what we want to do is we want to put one of these guns in your hand, have you hold it in a firing grip, and look at how your hand fits that gun. If the gun's too big for your hand, that's a problem. If it's too small for your hand, that's a problem. So we want to be sure that whatever gun you have chosen or might choose is going to give you the best potential success. So
Yeah.
that's something we want to accomplish this evening.
And we can probably do that at the end, because there's people online and whatnot, and they can't be part of that, physically. But how many of you have some kind of striker fired gun, like a Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm or a Glock? Okay. Do any of you have a firearm that has a manual safety on it?
Like a 1911. What do you have, Victor?
Couple of SIGs, it's 1911s.
Which one were you planning?
For this one, for this class, I was thinking about a SIG at 938.
Okay.
Oh, give him the microphone. Yes, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yes, microphone.
By the end of the evening, this will flow
Supposed
and
to
we'll
be
get it
my
right.
job, and I failed.
It's all right. A SIG 938.
Okay.
Behind you, sir. Ron, could you switch that to the person you have?
Got an FN 57.
All right.
Are these the pistols you were planning to use for class, or
Oh, okay.
ideally, if you have a striker fired gun without a manual safety, that probably would be a best place to start because you don't have to deal with the complication of learning how to properly run the manual safety.
Okay.
So like a Glock 17 or
frame, so it's a little bit bigger. The other ones are a little bit smaller frame. Is that
Oh,
Well, I'm
oh
gonna-
yeah, put it in the microphone.
We're gonna,
So the FN is a full frame. It's a full
Yeah.
size. I've got a couple of others that are a little more compact. I've got an M&P 9C.
bigger's better
Bigger is better, but it's got the manual.
than,
It's got the manual.
that's
safety.
that's a downside. We have trained thousands of people with guns with manual safeties. At LAPD, I trained thousands of officers with the Beretta M9, trained hundreds with the 1911. In SWAT, that's what we carried with 1911s. I carried one in Vietnam and so on. We know how to teach these guns. What we're saying is, if you have to learn a more complex manual of arms, i.e. how to and when to run that safety up and down and how to grip the gun. For example, with a 1911, your thumb's supposed to ride on top of that safety. It never comes off except to engage, and then it goes right back on top. Very few people that carry that gun even know that. Consequently, they have their thumb under the safety and occasionally bump the bottom of the safety in recoil and do some malfunction, which they blame on the gun, but it was really shooter induced. So it's just a more complicated system, and it takes more time to learn to run it efficiently. And it's your call. You could shoot that. If you have something, after we get done talking about it, you may choose to shoot something else. We'll see how it goes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a Glock 43, and there's no
Oh,
safety
yeah,
on it.
yep.
I have a Glock 43, and there's no safety on that,
Right.
and that kind of worried me.
The Glock pistol system has its several internal safeties. It is safe. The safety is don't put your finger on the trigger. And if the shooter's not safe, it doesn't matter how many mechanical safeties the gun has. Right now, there are approximately 1 million police officers in the United States walking around with a Glock with no manual safety on their hip, and very few of them will ever have an accident. It's a matter of training. And most of our students will be shooting a Glock or something similar that has no manual safety. So the manual safety just means you got more to learn. And it's really a lot more.
Okay, so if I have the Glock and I'm packing, then I'm not going to shoot myself in the hip. I'm not
Well,
going to shoot myself
If
in
you
the
put
hip.
your
I know.
finger on the trigger and pull, you might do that. No, the Glock pistol is the most popular pistol in the world. It's used by military organizations all over the world and by law enforcement all over the world. And it's the most popular pistol in the civilian world as well. Millions and millions and millions of people wear a Glock every day, and they're not having accidents any more than anybody else. Accidents are caused by a lack of training, failure to follow the 4 basic safety rules.
And also having it in the proper holster and the trigger guard being covered when you're then packing or it's in your center console, or you want to have the proper holster as well.
So we've got 3 people that we're having in the class. We each need to bring our own pistol for the class. We can't share among the 3 of us, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
an excuse to buy a new gun. That's
So, again, after we're finished talking about everything else, and we conclude for the evening, please come and talk to us. We just want to make sure that everyone has the right firearm for the class. We've had students come out with a caliber that is more than what they can handle. They don't even make it till lunch. They're not happy. We want you to have the best experience. we recommend a 9mm for everyone. To start with, just make sure whatever you have, it's at least a 9mm. So we can, again, because this could take a lot of time, but we want to be able to answer all your questions, but we also want to get through everything else. But be thinking about, what we said about the manual safeties. We definitely do not recommend them, but
That's your initial training system.
oh, yes, for this class. I mean, for the defensive pistol class, we don't recommend
Do
it.
you want to talk about, ideally, you want a full-size duty pistol?
Oh, yes.
Good. Okay. We're going to go through some criteria to consider if you haven't selected a pistol, or if you're going to select among several that you own. One, we do, as Stacy said, we prefer a 9mm. It's the most popular pistol caliber in the world, and there's reasons for that. There are other pistol calibers that are more effective, but they're harder to shoot well. If you're not shooting well, if you're not hitting your assailant, how powerful it is doesn't matter. One expression we have is a hit with a 22 is more effective than a miss with a 44 Magnum. So a 9mm is a good balance. It's relatively powerful, relatively effective, and relatively easy to shoot. The recoil is very manageable. And also cost of ammunition, because it's so popular, the ammunition is made in larger quantities and it's cheaper. So it's a little bit cheaper to shoot. The more your gun recoils, the harder it is to learn to shoot well. You know what recoil is? The gun kicks back, right? Every firearm's going to have some recoil. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We can't get away from that. That's basic physics. But the more the gun recoils, the more it tends to intimidate the new shooter. And when intimidate, I mean the shooter starts anticipating, starts trying to fight the recoil, moves the gun when he presses the trigger, does everything wrong. The less the gun recoils, the less likely the shooter is to pick up bad habits and do wrong things that are counterproductive. So most schools today recommend you start with a 9mm. As far as the size of the gun, within reason, the bigger the gun, the easier it's going to be to shoot. Now, if the gun's so big and heavy and you're a person of such a small stature that it's hard for you to hold the gun steady, well, that's not going to be helpful. But generally speaking, medium frame or even a large frame semi-automatic pistol like a Glock 17, something like that, is going to be very controllable. Now, you had a 43. So that's the single stack.
Yeah, it's a single
I think
stack
I'm carrying one actually. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that's a smaller, lighter gun and it's designed for concealed carry. In fact, I'm gonna get this out there. I said this last time. Everybody, let's say you're only interested in keeping a gun at home for home protection, you're not interested in carrying a gun every day. All you need is a full-size pistol. You don't need a subcompact. You don't need a bunch of different handguns. Just something like a Glock 17 or something of that size and weight will make a fine home defense gun. It's a little big to conceal carry, but it'll be great for home defense. Now, if you intend to carry concealed, it's our recommendation that you need at least 2 guns. People say, well, I'll just buy a little concealed carry gun and I'll do all my training on that. Smaller the gun is, the harder it is to learn with. The harder it is to shoot well. So if you try to get your basics and your fundamentals with a small subcompact pistol, it's going to be difficult. That's a real handicap. You want a bigger, heavier gun that's going to be easier to shoot and isn't going to intimidate you on a subconscious level. So if you're going to just carry, you just keep your gun at home, get your medium to large size, you're set. if you want to carry all the time, you're going to need a small version of the same gun. So that's one nice thing about the Glock is you got all the way from a very small 380 up to a full-size 10 millimeter. They cover everything. And interestingly, all Glock pistols, semi-automatic pistol, have the same angle between muzzle and grip frame. So that means I've developed muscle memory so that when I punch my full-size pistol out, the sights are right there. If I take my little 380, punch it out, the sights are right there because the angle between the barrel and the grip frame is the same. So these are reasons why we want to stay with the system. Any questions so far?
Sorry, one more. So if
Oh, hold on 1 second, sir.
sorry, so if I have to go buy a gun for this class, it's better to buy a bigger gun to learn the fundamentals of shooting, and because that'll translate if I have to get a more compact pistol for a concealed carry. So
Thank you so much.
is that what I'm getting? So get the full size for the class,
Yes.
and it's easier to shoot the more compact sizes after the training.
Yes.
Your full-size gun is going to be a better home defense gun than your small gun. So it's not just it's going to be easier to train with, but it serves a purpose. The gun you're going to keep at home in a lockbox ready to go or whatever it is, that should be your full-size auto pistol, your full-size
So,
pistol.
and if you are going to go buy one, we recommend the Glock 17. That's most of the people in the class, that's what they're going to shoot. A 17, a couple of people might shoot a 19, Glock 19, and then sometimes, a couple of people will have the Smith & Wesson MMPs. So
Yes.
the next thing, and again, we'll take more questions at the end, and from the people that are online also, we'll take more questions. But first, we just want to try to get through some things, and then you can be thinking about some of your questions. We have holsters. So we highly recommend, I brought a couple. They're all Blade Tech holsters. So they're made out of
Kydex.
Kydex material. It's like it sounds like plastic. But these holsters, these are called drop and offset holsters. So what that means is this is like a standard holster. These are for the belt loops. You put it right here and it sits pretty high up on your waist, which is fine. Usually, young men, or they're just straight. It works usually for us women. Our bodies are curvier, or just some gentlemen too. It doesn't work as well. This here this part here, the shank, sits on your belt here, and then where the pistol goes, it's lower. So you're not drawing and going like this to get the gun out. You just draw and go like, just come straight out. You don't have to come way up and then out. So this is from Blade Tech. I can write it on the board. I believe it's just bladetech.com. You cannot find these holsters at Cabela's or Gunny's or anywhere. You do have to order this type of holster online. You order them separately. So you order the shank part.
The drop and offset.
Yeah, the drop and offset part. And they have two or three different sizes. So it just depends. Men love these. This was originally designed by a woman from Gunsight Academy. But these have become really popular with the men as well. So you can see the difference in the two. And you can get one that's kind of in between. It doesn't drop down as much, but it still has a little bit of a drop. Or this one, the one on your left drops more. It's just personal preference. You really can't go wrong with these. Now, these are not made for concealed carry. This isn't something you're going to take, running errands with you. But these are excellent, very, very safe holsters to train with. You'll use these when you go out and train.
Couple of things I want to add. These holsters have, you're probably going to talk about that, but they have
That's okay, good.
the retention. We have
Yes.
They have passive retention versus
Active.
active retention. So what that means is when you put the pistol in, it will lock, the Kydex will lock into the trigger guard section of the holster so that it won't fall out. So
Yeah.
if you bend over to pick something up, it's
Yeah,
not going to
bend
go
over.
tumbling out of your holster. But it's not going to provide you a lot of protection from somebody trying to take your holster from you in a struggle, something like that. It's primarily a training holster. I wear one of these every day. And for years at LAPD, we were required to have active retention holsters. And I probably will work back to that. But you can wear this training holster as an everyday holster, and you can make it ride higher by taking the shank off, the drop and offset piece, so that it'll ride more conveniently for concealed carry.
But you
It'll be
can,
more
and you
concealable.
can kind of see in here, so you drop it in and then there's a last little,
Click.
and that holds it in there.
But again, if you do somersaults, the gun will probably still be there, but if somebody grabs it, that's not going to help you.
Also, there are holsters where they have the push button. What are they called, Ron? They have a name where you draw and, I'm sorry?
It's a Serpa.
Oh, Serpa holsters.
No range will allow you to
we-
use them
we
because
do
people
not.
misuse them and they've had accidents.
Yes, because they press, and as the gun's coming out, the finger goes on the trigger. So that's not good. Not good, and we definitely don't allow those at our school.
Yes. So what we suggest is you buy, they're fairly inexpensive as holsters go. You buy one of these holsters that Stacy's showing you. Yeah. Do you write it down?
I wrote it on the board from
Okay.
bladetech.com.
Now, holsters come in different
Can't.
Can't. Yes.
So they'll go vertical, or they'll come
Which meaning,
with the
like
butt.
they'll come this way, or kind of more straight up, or
The reason is, with the butt rocked forward, that might be faster, but it's not. If it's rocked back, that might be faster, maybe. But what we suggest is straight up and down. So if you order an holster online, even not just these, but a lot of others, they will ask you, which cant do you want? You want vertical. For our range purposes, you want a vertical cant. Pretty good with that? Questions?
yes.
Does it have to be a hip holster or can it be like a thigh holster?
Well,
Like, you know, the
I'm
ones that you can like have on your thigh, like you're like Laura Croft or something like that.
You mean like a SWAT holster?
Yeah.
Like a SWAT holster down by your knee?
Just on your like
That would be a more advanced system and something you would learn later.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah, for this class, no. You need a outside of the waistband holster, so not inside of the waistband, outside only.
And if the holster company only asks you a couple things, one of the things they're going to ask you is inside or outside. Inside a waistband or outside the waistband. We want outside the waistband.
Ron, do you have anything to add to that?
I was just going to add that you want a vertical holster worn at 330 that is made for the pistol.
Oh, yes. Yes, no Mike's holster that fits 5, 6, 10 different pistols. A holster that specifically fits your pistol. No like canvas soft holster, it can be a leather holster, but it has to be really hard leather, not leather that you have to open, right? And we've had some people with like really hard leather holsters,
Yes, that's okay.
but those can be a little tricky. So if you if you already have a leather holster, you need to come see us and tell us, and we need to talk about it.
What has happened is sometimes the leather will become so soft or pliable that you might get a leather fold inside the trigger guard, and as you push the gun in, it might activate the trigger. But the Kydex isn't going to.
Yeah, it's going to stay open for you, because sometimes people are tempted when the leather collapses at the top and they want to put the gun back into the holster. They're tempted to use their support hand, bring it over, cover themselves just to get the gun in, and that's when you have problems. We don't cover ourselves at any time, and definitely not when we're trying to holster.
Question, sir. Did you have your hand up? Yes, sir.
Is there a life expectancy of the plastic material, UV light shining on it?
Light shining on
Will it last for 10 years? Like tie wraps, they get brittle and they break.
Huh. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've had these. I've had mine for over 20 years, and it's been used a lot. So.
That answers the question.
Okay. Oh, and then, so magazine pouches to go with your holster. When you order your holster, you're going to need to order magazine pouches. I know this is a lot of stuff for the class, but it's so worth the money. Just like when you get into any sport, just getting into it, that's the hard part. But you can get we recommend getting the double magazine pouch holder, but if maybe they're sold out of these, you can get a couple singles and just put them on the belt together. That works. Or a lot of people, they get a double and a single and wear them out on the range. You're going to have at least four magazines, or what do we?
3 on the belt. Oh, well.
A minimum of 3 magazines.
Yeah, minimum of 3. And it depends. If you have a single stack, then we recommend more magazines, 4 or 5 magazines, because you hold less rounds.
You're going to be doing a lot of drills that require a high stack magazine. If you don't, then if you have a single stack magazine, a lower capacity magazine, you're going to reload more, but you're still going to need the same number of rounds. That means you're going to need more magazines. We recommend for any firearm, semi-automatic firearm that you own, you should own at least 6 spare magazines. One thing on the range, we always retrieve our magazines. I can tell you in combat, a lot of times you can't. You're not always going to retrieve your magazines. So that means if you have more ammo, but you got nothing to put it in, it's not very useful. So minimum number of magazines for ownership of a firearm, we recommend 6. And with the drills that you're going to be doing in the day 3, day 4, you're going to need at least 3
High capacity
magazines, or 4 if you're single stack. Good?
So just make sure when you order.
I want
Yes.
to say something. Can I say?
Yes.
One thing is, not everybody has the same size waist. So some people can put a lot more equipment on there than other people can, because there's just room for more equipment. But what you can do is, if you can space them out between belt loops. So some people will go with the singles so that they can spread them out in that manner. But again, any combination that works for you is fine, as long as it's safe. We'll show you how to thread these onto your belt and so on when the time comes. The first day on the range, well, your first real day is all classroom, the knowledge, right? The second day is on the range, no live ammo. You're going to spend a whole day learning how to operate these guns in a combat environment. And one of the things that we'll do is we'll help you at that time with your equipment. We'll adjust it. We'll show you maybe if you move that over here a little bit, move this back here, it's going to work better for you. You know, we don't, you know, we'll be right there. We'll have an instructor with you watching you put your gear on, making sure you're doing things in a safe manner.
Okay, so I just, for clarification, there, and again, all of you will get in an email, you'll get the copy of the equipment list, but it does say for magazines, if you have a single stack magazine pistol, you will need 5 or 6 rather than 3. Only it saves time. If all you can get is 3, we're not going to kick you out of the class, and you'll just do the best you can. You know, just get what you can. But if you have 5 or 6, it will just be so much better, because when we're doing the lecture, that's when we have people load and you sit there and load. Then, you know, we're not waiting for everybody to load, and then you're not trying to hurry, and it just, it works out better if you have it. But again, if you can't, it's okay. And then, and then occasionally when you're learning how to load and unload, and if you drop a magazine, you can just pull another one out of your pocket or your pouch. You know, I mean, if they're all gone from your pouch, then you have backups in your pocket. Because if you drop your magazine, we don't let you pick it up until the firing line has been declared safe and, you know, we've all stepped back. Then you retrieve the things that you dropped. So
it's going to be on your written test. Very simple. When can you pick items up from the deck?
And it's open note and written test, but it's good. And we have to for our insurance, we have to give you guys a test. But
so it's open book test, no problem.
Yeah. Everybody will pass. You'll do great. But I know some people, it's like, test, what am I signing up for? Okay, let's move on to, so we talked about holsters. Eye protection. So again, just basic, those of you who wear glasses, you'll need to just, at the dollar store, Walmart, they have eye protection, because the regular glasses like these won't work over your glasses, but for $1 at the dollar store, they sell the glasses. They're kind of rectangular, and then they go around, but they fit real nice over glasses if you need to wear your glasses when you shoot.
Also, the little flags on the side station, a little side.
Well, that's if they're just wearing their glasses. So, because I was just going to talk about that. This pair, and I could pass some of this stuff around if you guys want to see it closer. This type of glasses where they wrap around is what we recommend, because if people are shooting and you're standing on the range and you're, you know, turned sideways, it protects your eyes from the side too, the wrap around.
I would just mention, we shoot paper targets, we also shoot steel targets. Anytime you shoot steel targets, you have fragmentation. So anytime anyone on the range is shooting, even if you're not shooting, you're taking a break, you're under your shade umbrella drinking a Gatorade, right? Doesn't matter, because that fragment has nobody's name on it. Somebody else can be shooting 3 lanes away and frag can come back and hit you. Over the many years that I've been doing this, I've been cut a couple times, never even needed a stitch. But if it gets you in the eye, that's going to be a big deal. So we have to always keep our eye protection on when anyone is shooting.
So can you get those? Can you get those glasses prescriptive, or can you wear your readers underneath them or sunglasses underneath them or whatever?
You can get it the side.
Well, I don't, you can, I'm sure you can get this type of thing and get some kind of prescription put on it if you need it. But, or if you need your readers to see your sights, that we definitely will figure that out usually on the first day during the lecture, during lunch or after, at the end of the day. Then you decide, or even the first part of, when do you usually do that? Maybe the second day. You'll figure that out, whether you need them or not. But they have this type of glass, but they're a little bit more square, rectangular, that will fit right over your readers.
Is that the dollar store in Walmart?
The Walmart, dollar store, they even have some, let's see, where else? Yeah, that's the cheapest, like at at Walmart or the dollar store, where they have all the little house utility
His
little
question,
gadgets and stuff. You'll find them there.
Okay, hold on just a second. She has perfect vision almost. So I've had a lot more issues. I have kaleidoscope vision, I have double vision, I have glaucoma. So I know all about this stuff as far as your glasses and so on. So I'm just going to just follow up a little bit. Now, what you're sometimes having to decide between is my reading glasses or my driving glasses for shooting. If you're in that position, you're going to use your reading glasses. Because what has to be crystal clear to shoot well are sights. The target doesn't have to be crystal clear. As long as you can put your sights on the target, you're okay. So what we want you to do is use, if that's your choice, use the reading glasses. However, what I've done is just gone into my ophthalmologist, however you say it, anyway, eye doctor. And I said, I need some glasses that focus right there where my fingernail is. That's where my front sight's going to be. So they made shooting glasses for you. I just tell them I want shooting glasses and I want them prescription, focus right here. Because what I have to be able to see clearly is my front sight. So that might answer some of the questions that we're probably holding. Does everyone understand that, or do you have any more questions on that particular subject?
Now, sunglasses, if you are blind by the sun, like myself, you can use sunglasses, but just make sure they are just more kind of the wraparound type, the best you can. Yeah, because sometimes I just absolutely can't see. If you don't really need the sunglasses and it's real bright, it's better to not use them while you're really learning how to shoot, the best. You can't see the sight. We're gonna get there. No, that's okay. Those are good questions. I brought some, so we're almost there. Okay, so yes.
So I keep starting to talk about it. Another thing, let's say that your reading glasses work well for you. You can see your sights, you're shooting well, you're doing great, but you still have the fragmentation to consider. Your reading glasses are not going to be wrap around. But you can acquire these small tabs, if you will, that attach to the sides of your glasses to prevent fragmentation from coming in from the sides. So this is another option that you have.
Yes. Okay, and then we have ears. So some people ask, well, can I just wear these, like the ear muffs that go on the outside of your ears? Or can I just wear these that go inside your ear? We usually say, unless you are really hard of hearing, then sometimes we tell students, okay, just wear these, the muff part. There's different ways and parts that we hear. We actually hear too from the back on the outside. So the muffs protect that little soft area behind our ear, and then these little plugs,
I think
protect
it's
the
a
inside.
massive bone back here,
Okay.
isn't it? Is that right? A lot of your hearing, it comes in through that bone back there.
The other, and you can hear us, believe it or not. Most people, and again, unless you have a lot of hearing loss, you'll hear us just fine on the range with both of these on. We don't recommend just the little ones with the foam where you have to rub with your fingers to stick it in your ear, because we're gonna be putting these in and out a lot. And so we recommend the ones, it can be this plastic strap, or like a rope, a cloth, it doesn't matter. As long as these are connected and you can put them around your neck. And then when we're going to have them off for a little while, like when we're having lunch or whatever, then we just recommend that you do one little loop like that. Because if you don't, then this starts to happen and then they fall onto the ground, and you're not going to want to put those back in your ear with the lead and the germs. That's the other reason with, when you have lead, we're loading and handling the firearms, and then we've had people, they're licking the little foam thing that they put in their ear, and then they're rubbing it and then putting it back in their ear, and it's not only gross, but it's not good for you to be sticking that in your ear. These are really cheap. You can get these at Walmart too. And of course, all the gun stores, they have them, but they're usually $1 or $2 more. And we recommend that you come out with at least 2. We always say 2 is 1, 1 is none. So if you do accidentally drop it or one of these comes off, you have a spare with you. So a lot of the little things bring 2. And same thing, let's see.
While you're looking for that, I just want to add on another point here. Airborne lead contamination is for real. And we will expect you to wash your hands before you eat on the range. So keep that in mind also with regards to, how you treat your earplugs. But you need to wash your hands before you eat. Most of the lead that airborne lead that we ingest, we take through our mouth. I've at LAPD on 2 different occasions, I had to be taken off the range because my blood count for lead was too high. It's a real thing. So just if you wash up, don't eat on the range until you've washed, you probably won't have any problems at all. Because especially it being an outdoor range.
So another thing, just real quick, people have asked us with the headsets that have where you can,
Electronics.
Yes, the electronics, those are allowed. It's fine. So
I have several pairs. The ones that I have bought in the past are Howard and Light Impact Sport. You can find them on sale for like $40 on Amazon from time to time.
And for ladies, there is a website I recommend checking out, and it's called Girls with Guns. I haven't ordered anything from them for a while, but as you can see, you can still be totally feminine and shoot really well. You can have stuff like this. Don't have to bring everything out to the range that's black or green.
Her AR-15 is the same color as her fingernails. She calls it a purple people eater.
And my headset has a little bit of purple on it. They're getting better about making things a little more attractive for us ladies. And check this out. So not just the looks, but I am going to talk about the style of pants that we recommend. So my purple camouflage, okay? Now, I got these at the Army Surplus Store in Orem on State Street. And I have several pairs. I got pink camo, and gray and black camo, but we recommend pants that has a lot of pockets for men and ladies. And the reason is, again, you're going to have one pocket, it's going to be full of dummy rounds. Another pocket's going to be full of live rounds. Then you'll need other pockets to put empty magazines in, because we don't put empty magazines in our magazine pouches. We put them in pockets. Now, we've had people come out in jeans, and it's okay. You're just not going to have all the storage space. So some of these things we totally understand. If you can't, go out and acquire all these things for this class, it's okay. But we just like to, recommend. These are not expensive from the Army and Surplus Store. Their prices are pretty good. At least it's been a little while since I've been there, but I forgot to show this holster. So this is a regular holster. It doesn't have the drop and offset, but this holster's a good holster and it'd be just fine. But again, for ladies, I don't recommend a holster like this, because our hips, our waists go in, and then the gun's digging in your ribs, and then when you have to draw, it's a real problem. but men, usually it's fine. What?
5'11".
Oh yeah, for men, so what Larry has, now these are a little pricier, but you can get pants similar. These are the 5'11s, but same thing, it's got all the pockets. Walmart, I know they used to sell pants similar to these, but any of these other places too, Cabela's, Gunny's, any sports place I think has these pants, or even online.
I wear these all day, every day, and I wear nothing else. I wear no other trousers, should I say that? Because
Yeah.
I carry so much stuff. I've got a pepper spray, a knife, which is a tool, not a weapon. I've got a couple extra magazines, got my pistol. A lot of times I'll have a little small pocket flashlight. It's just a lot of weight. And I need a lot of pockets to do that, so I just wear this every day.
We do not allow shorts out on the range. You can wear shorts on the first day for lecture, but we're out in the dirt and there's bugs, there's big weeds.
Frag.
Yeah, and frag, not that it's not like, it's constantly blowing back at you, but Larry has been injured from frag just standing out there. So
We've had 2 people in all the classes in the last 20 years. 2 people have been injured by frag, and I was both of them. So,
and we'd rather have it be one of us than
Yeah.
one of our students. But yeah, please do not come in shorts.
or quilt. What do they call it? Those Scottish.
Kilts.
Oh, kilt.
Kilt.
Somebody wore a kilt.
We
No.
had a guy show
Kilts
up
are
in a
not-
kilt, and he says, "Look, there's nothing in the equipment list that says I can't wear this." So now we have to tell people.
I mean, it sounds silly, and some of this stuff is common sense, but again, if this is something totally new for you, and the weather, it does get pretty warm, not so much for the June class, it won't be too bad, but the July class gets pretty hot, and it is tempting to want to wear shorts, but, please do not wear shorts. Shoes. Please do not come in little, especially ladies, like just little slip-ons. It's better if you can, at least come in some kind of beefy or tennis shoes type. The best is kind of
Something with ankle
what
support.
Ron has, some kind of boot, or like just a hiking type tennis shoe. And
Something with support on your ankles, ideal.
we are walking on uneven terrain. And also, there are snakes, there's big bugs. It's just, we're outdoors, and it's just better. But again, go with the best that you have, because it can get expensive. You can get a pair of tennis shoes from Walmart. Just make sure it comes up on your ankle a little bit. And again, ideally is like the little hiking tennis shoes, but we don't want to, everybody to break their bank just trying to do this class. The most important thing is having the right firearm, and so spending money on the firearm and the holster and buying decent ammo, and then everything else is doable.
And dummy rounds.
Oh,
Dummy
yes.
rounds are critical. Azooms
Yes.
or possibly pink rhino.
And we'll get there. So hats, just anything that has like a brim on it, and you can wear your headset over it. So not a big beach hat, that's not gonna work. And it's usually really windy out there, or oftentimes it's windy, and you need to be able to put your headset over it. So just any kind of baseball cap, or this is like a military style cap, just anything will work.
Couple of points, if I may. One of the reasons that we recommend the
The
muff
cap.
is because when you have your come on,
Or the headsets.
the headset. No, I have completely forgot the point. Let me get back to you in just a second. I think,
The brimmed
oh, I
hat.
know what it is. Yeah, the brim of the hat will break the seal on the headphone, which is one reason you might want to wear the plugs as well. Right? If you don't have a good seal, which can be hard to get with a hat. One other thing I want to add, we're talking about a cap, so you have sunshade in your face. But we also recommend that on day 2, you bring a hat, not just a cap. So in other words, maybe something that's got a brim all the way around, more like a cowboy hat or something like that.
Or a gardening hat.
Yes.
Day
gardening
2
hat.
is not live fire. It's all dry practice. So you're not going to need the ear protection. So
Yes.
the brimmed hat provides you better sun protection on your neck and your ears and stuff.
On day 2, there's no live fire, so we don't have to worry about breaking that seal. It's all manipulation. So what we do worry about is a lot of times when we get there on the morning of day 3, I notice everybody's sunburned because they wore a cap on day 2 when they should have worn a hat. Everybody with me?
To that point, sunscreen is recommended.
It's on the list. It's on the equipment list.
Okay, dummy rounds. We have, so this one is really, really important because we put dummy rounds on the equipment list and a Zoom, but what happens is oftentimes students will go into a store and, an employee will say, how can I help you? Yeah, I need dummy rounds. I need, a Zoom dummy rounds. And the employee usually will say, okay, well, we don't have 9mm because the rest of your class came in and bought them up, but we do have 9mm dummy rounds that look like this, and I will take them out of the bag and I'll pass them around. These are not what you want. These are 45s, but the type of dummy rounds that they have they're red, they have the brass in the back, they have a spring in them. We do not use these. We also, first two, I'll come back to these, but look at these. Oh, okay. Yeah, we do not use these red plastic dummy rounds with the springs in them.
I think those are made by Tipton, aren't they?
I think so.
I mean, we have these because we used them years ago, but Larry can talk about the different issues that we've had with these in the firearms.
They can break and get stuck in the gun, and they can be a real pain to get out.
Okay, we do recommend, these are a Zoom, and they come in 2 different colors.
There's at least 3 colors now.
Oh, 3, okay. Yeah.
Like A-Z-U-M-E.
A-Z-O-O-M.
And I have some packages. I'm going to pass these around too.
O-O-M.
Here, I'll pass them around over here. Yes. So they either come in like a maroon color or a blue. So they're a maroon or a blue.
They have to be milled aluminum, not plastic of any kind.
Yes.
Now there is a
So-
silicone simulated primer in there, but other than that, it's all milled aluminum.
Oh yes, I forgot. They also do come in orange. So they come in like a maroon, blue, or an orange color. The blue are a little easier to see on the ground. I would say these orange ones might be a little more difficult because they will be on the ground and they have real soft dirt mixed with the rocks and everything else, and sometimes it can be difficult to find them. The other kind you do not want to buy are just these orange plastic. It's just a plastic dummy round. Do not buy these. And I'll pass this one around also.
There's one more. A lot of
I don't think we don't have it, but
right. I know we don't have it.
I'll pass these around.
Companies will take an actual brass casing, deprime it, and then put a plastic projectile in it. The problem with that is when you do a chamber check, you pinch the slide open a little bit, look into the feedway to see whether or not you have a cartridge in there. Now your dummy round and your live round look exactly the same. You have no way to distinguish one from the other. So a lot of stores will sell these dummy rounds where it's an actual brass casing, 9mm brass casing with a plastic bullet in it. Those, in fact, we had an accident at LAPD because an officer did a chamber check, saw the brass casing, thought that that was the brass casing dummy round, pressed the trigger and fired a shot. It was a live round. But you can see why we can't work with those.
So on your dummy rounds, I will pass these around, but we recommend we'll use nail polish or model airplane paint of any color you want. It doesn't matter. But what you do is you paint just the upper tip, not the whole like bullet part.
It's illustrated in the equipment list.
It is,
as a
but
reminder.
I'm just, yes. Because it's too much nail polish or paint that it like chips off and gets stuck inside the gun, and we just don't need that much.
Fill up the chamber.
Mm-hmm. So you just paint the tip. On these, it's gold, but like I said, use a bright color, a sparkly color, a orange, anything. The reason we do that is if everybody or half the class has maroon dummy rounds and the other half have blue, and we're doing the skip loading drills, now it's time for everybody to pick up their dummy rounds. It's difficult to know who's, because they get ejected out of the gun and kind of go this way and that way. So, but if you have a color on it, then okay, hey, mine are orange, mine are green, mine are purple sparkles. So it's very, very helpful. So you can just see on the tip there where we painted it.
In your written equipment list, it will show you a picture of what part to coat, what part not to coat.
Another thing we recommend, it's not a must, but it's nice to have, and especially people who like to take notes, or if just, kind of having issues with your firearm or whatnot, we recommend a small pocketbook. And not only just, if you're having issues, but sometimes when we're trying to sight in the gun, or if we sight it in and then there's still just a small issue that we can work with, sometimes we have you write that down so you remember for later. But a small pocket notebook is great. Again, when you have the pants with a bunch of pockets, it's easy to stick in your pocket. So again, I've seen these at the dollar store or Walmart.
Since we've made some recent changes in our sighting in program, we've made the notebook required.
Oh, it is required now. Okay. I've been out of the loop a little bit. So now it is a requirement then. You can get one.
When I see, I don't know how much I talked about this before. The first time your gun is fired with live ammunition, I'm going to shoot it. I shoot every gun in the class. Then we will walk up to the target. Ron will measure where that group is in relationship to dead center. And then he'll tell you, and you'll write it down. He'll say your gun is shooting 2 inches at 3 o'clock. That means your gun's shooting left about 2 inches from center. Follow that? And then later when we're doing exercises and you're shooting the gun, I'll be asking you, we'll look at your target that you just shot, and I'll say, where does the gun shoot? Meaning, where did it shoot for me? In fact, that really bears a little bit of 2 minutes of conversation. Some of you probably have been brought up with the notion that everyone has to zero their gun for their own eye, that we all have a different zero. Who's ever heard that before? Not very many. That's a common popular belief. We have to zero the gun to the individual. Now, what we were doing was we were zeroing the gun to the individual's errors. So we'd adjust the sights to compensate for his mistakes so that even though he was aiming incorrectly, he's really aimed over here, but he's hitting the mark because we've adjusted the sights to account for that. Follow that? That's what we were doing when we sighted the gun to the individual. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot your gun and show you mechanically, if shot perfectly, this is where it will shoot. We'll record that. Then as you start the shooting drills, if you're shooting where I'm shooting, where I shot the gun, then we know that you're doing things correctly. If you shoot somewhere else, then we know you're doing you've got an error. And we're going to figure out what it is. We're going to fix it. We're not going to adjust the sights to your error. Very unique concept. Is that earth-shattering for some of you? Hopefully.
Adjust the shooter, not the gun.
Yeah.
The point of
yeah,
the training
we'll fix
program is to correct the errors that you make, not to try to compensate for the errors that you make by making adjustments to the sites.
At LAPD, for example, back before I worked at the academy, they were issuing revolvers, and the shooter would jerk the gun and flinch and go low right. So the instructors would say, well, I'm not much of an instructor. I don't know how to fix the shooter, but I do have a screwdriver. And you just turn that rear sight all the way up and all the way over to one side. So now when he lines those sights up on the target, he's really lined up over there. The sights are lined up center. Now when he jerks, he pushes the gun and he hits the target somewhere. And no, although he's never going to develop any skill at all, he's going to pass the course, and that's the only point. So I went to supervision. I said, I consider this to be criminal derelict of duty. This is a crime. So we did away with all that. I sight the gun in. Then when you shoot, if you're not shooting where I'm shooting, we analyze you, we figure out what you're doing, and we correct it. And everyone ends up shooting the same as me. What a coincidence. In fact, one more quick short story to substantiate this fact. I would have to sight in every month 100 new recruits. I had to sight in 100 Berettas. And I could put all the guns in boxes and put them on a cart, take them up to the range, and I would shoot a group with the first gun. I'd mark it down, shoot 3 inches left, put that note in the box with the gun and do the next one. And I'd do all 100 of them. And then the armor would go in there and adjust all these sights because there's no screwdriver. You have to tap them. You have to move them. So they'd adjust all the sights. Then I'd go shoot them again. And sometimes I'd have to shoot a gun 2 or 3 times to get it right on. But when we issued those guns, they all shot to the sights. Well, that took me weeks. So I needed some help. But believing what I've been told, that we all shoot differently and we have to sight the gun to the individual's eye and so on, I wasn't sure how to do that. So we have an advanced combat course at LAPD. This course has been there for 50 years. And in that time, 42 people have ever shot a clean score, a perfect score. And it took me 25 years to do it the first time. So I picked 8 guys that had shot a perfect score on that advanced course. And I knew those were the best shots on the department. So I said, okay, you guys are going to help me sight in these guns, but first we're going to try something. I'm going to shoot one gun and then you're all going to shoot that gun at a different target. So I shoot the gun, it's 3 inches left. And every single guy shoots it, and it goes 3 inches left for him. And I take the next gun and shoots 2 inches right, and then every guy shoots it, and it goes 2 inches right for every guy. Now, since we all have a different zero, and we have to sight the gun for the individual shooter's eye, what are the odds that these 8 guns shot to the exact same spot for all 10 of us? A bazillion to 1? No, you know why? Because none of us were making any mistakes. You follow? The reason we're always sighting the gun in is to account for the mistakes that the shooter's making. So we don't do that anymore. So we sighted in the guns and then we fixed the student. Okay, if you want to talk about that more, I'll be happy to discuss it with you. But you won't find a lot of instructors that understand that. Thanks. Good deal. All right, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. No, moving on to belts. So back when I was skinny, this is a good gun belt, gun sight belt. It's hard and I can, pass it around, or I'll just leave it up here on the table and after you can take a look at it. But this belt costs what now? Probably at least $50. So, but it's thick. And the reason we talk about belts, first it has to be at least, I think this one is like 1.5, but we say, 2 inch, because again, on ladies' pants, our belt loops usually aren't all that big. So, and you have to check whatever pair of pants you decide to bring out to the range and make sure your belt fits. But you don't want a soft leather belt, usually for men, that you wear with your suits to church, because what happens is the holster, I'll use this one. If it's real flimsy, I'll use this front part, and if it's skinny, the holster doesn't stay in place. Every time you try to take the gun out, the holster's going to come up and just move around a little too much for you. So when you put this on the harder part and then you have it on, it's pretty stationary. So it stays where you want it and where you need it.
The closer your size of your loops is to the size of your belt, the more stable it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to rock around.
Now, I recommend, again, if you can spend the money or want to buy something more like this, real sturdy, an actual gun belt is ideal. But if not, then just buy a thicker hard leather, like a pleather belt maybe try Walmart. I know a lot of these things you can get from Walmart. This belt in the past I did get for $10 at Walmart. It works.
It's too thin? Just out of curiosity.
It's a little soft. Again, not terrible. If you have one that's softer like this, then you're going to have to wear it tighter on your body. And that can cause a lot of lower back pain after 3 days of wearing that and then wearing stuff. So, that's not terrible. And again, I know I keep talking about, things are just so expensive and it's really, it's hard. And it's hard having to buy all this stuff. So, like I said, we have things, there's certain things we just say, okay, it's required, you have to have this, otherwise it's not going to work. But a lot of other things you can kind of, do the best you can. So, and like I said, this belt, it works. It's not as thick as I'd like it to be or as stiff. And I do have to wear it a little tighter, but it's doable. But see how, especially ladies, see how it's wider, because you cannot use a thin belt. And it's easy, it makes it nice because the little opening where, for the magazine pouch and your gun pouch is pretty wide. And so if you had a belt like half this size, this would be going up and down and just moving all around. Okay. And then, so on the equipment list, it also talks about shooting gloves. You really just need a glove for your support hand, but sometimes, occasionally, people will wear both. But the thing about these gloves, this one I believe I got also, probably at Walmart in their sports section. It's been a long time that I bought all this stuff. But this is like I believe like a bicycle glove. So it has some padding here, but not thick. You don't want it to be real thick because then it's too bulky and you can't really feel what you're doing. Also with the fingers cut off, because you need this glove for the palm of your hand, to protect the palm of your hand, because when we do our skip loading drill, and even on day 2, and we're running the slide and doing malfunction drills, the palm of your hand is going to be oftentimes like sliding over the sights, and the palm of your hand can get really sore. Did you have a question, sir? Oh, okay. So, for example, and this is just a dummy gun, but we're not pointing at anybody. See, Ron knows. Okay. So we're also on our skip loading drill, you're going to be tapping the bottom of your magazine pretty hard. We're not bumping it. You're tapping it to make sure it's seated. Then you're going to be running the slide this way. And so this is what we're going to be using the glove with your support hand for. Okay. And it also helps having the glove. I don't know if it's just mental or what it is, but when we're doing some things, it helps. It helps with hand strength. So sometimes people feel like they have more hand strength, probably because then it's not sore and they're not like, worried or scared about hurting their hand more. And these are nice to have. So anything like this, I mean, I would imagine like golfing gloves, and I can pass this
I
around.
was gonna say, golfing gloves, does that work?
Yeah, yes, so it doesn't have to be, just something like that. And you can pass that around so people can feel that we've had some people come out in real thick gloves, and that ends up being a problem, not working out very well. So just anything similar to that, it should work.
Again, you're primarily just trying to avoid getting your palm of your support hand tender, and so you start favoring it, and your technique breaks down.
Okay.
Just develop a callus.
Can we go back for a second? I'm pretty sure you did, but did you give them the brand name of the 2 dummy rounds that are acceptable? I know you mentioned it.
Oh, did Ron? Oh, A-Zoom, and is there another brand? Or
They're not as common, but I'll write it down. It's Pink Rhino, available through Mantis, but you have to actually ask for them.
okay. What-
E-Zoom is what we want.
A-Zoom. I just bought these yesterday at Gunny's. You're gonna need 20. And these were $25 each for a package of 10, but you're not gonna just use these for the class. You will use these for all your training in the future. No, I'm sorry, 20 dummy rounds. So these actually happen to come in a 10 pack, but a lot of times they'll come with 5 or 6 in a pack. So then you'll need, 4. But we say 20 because you may lose a couple, but hopefully not. It just depends sometimes out there and how the dirt is.
Hopefully people don't step on them.
Right. So we try to have you guys pick them up right away, sometimes before we even go and look at the target, so people aren't stepping all over them, and then now half of them are buried. So we do the best we can.
Gunny's in Orem.
Yes. I heard there is a Gunny's in Salt Lake. Do you guys know? Oh, Gallinsons. Okay.
They're often available at Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to get something on Amazon, you probably look pretty quickly if your class is 10 days from now.
Yeah, so how many people are taking the June class? Okay, a lot of you. Pardon me?
You order them at Amazon, they'll get there before they post her.
Yes. So if you need to order the holster and, just come see us when we're finished tonight. So we can, because you have to order 2 in 2 parts. You have to order the holster and then I always forget, the drop shank. You have to order that separate. I mean, still, but you have to go to one part of the website and order the holster in the other part. Okay. We talked about like boots, shoes, high tops, just ankle protection is preferred. Oh, bring a chair, camping chair. So we talked about baseball caps. Don't just wear a visor, and then especially men. Your hair's real short, and if you were to get frag, the scalp bleeds a lot. So you want the cap, not just a visor.
So one point of clarity, apparently someone was asking what frag. Frag is fragments of metal from the projectiles after they hit the steel, and they could hit rocks or something and come back. So fragments of the bullets, bullet fragments, is the frag that we don't want to suffer a cut from, or in your eyes or anything like that.
And it happens, but it's not like it's all the time. But we always say, well, when it happens to you, it's 100%, right? So but it's not like we're going to constantly be dodging fragments either.
Yeah, and as Larry mentioned, most of the time it doesn't even cut you if you feel something. But if something gets in your eye, the consequence is way too high to not have the protection, right?
When we're shooting steel in groups, we will bring you behind the shooter because the frag goes out at angles to the sides. So everybody we're waiting to shoot will shoot behind the shooter, and we'll work down the range to minimize the chance that anybody gets hit. We've never had a student get injured, so it's still the eye. You just got to think about the seriousness of that.
Okay, and next is ammunition. Approximately 150 rounds. The classes will vary. 150 rounds of reliable, accurate factory ammunition. We do not accept hand loads. We've had people bring out hand loads and they shoot 6 rounds and we have 12 holes in the target all over the place. Yes.
We just have no way to vet everybody's reloading capabilities. So one of our earlier classes, we had to shut the class down, send everybody to the store to buy ammo and come back and start the class up again because it was that bad. We had so many problems with the ammunition, we just can't deal with it.
No Russian or reloaded ammunition, no tracer ammunition or steel core bullets.
And these are so we don't have fires or
Steel core could damage the steel target.
oh yes, that's it, steel core. Yes, definitely. These targets are extremely expensive, steel targets. And you could just put a couple of steel rounds on there and throw them away. They can't be used. Once they're damaged, then they will no longer send their frag out in a predictable manner. So you can't really use them anymore. Once you shoot the wrong ammo on them, they're pretty much done. Yes, Ron. Oh, who had their...
Is the restriction on Russian ammo, does that have to do with the lacquer coating? Is that more safety for your gun, or is there other problems with
No,
it?
a lot of the Russian ammo uses steel cores. So since we don't know necessarily every one that does, we just avoid the Russian ammo.
Yes. Yes.
But if we were to go to like Smith & Edwards or a sporting goods store, the ammunition they have on their shelf would be okay?
Let me read this a little further, and it might answer your question. It says, we do not recommend no name or brand X ammunition. We've had a factory 9mm cartridge rupture, blowing the magazine out of the pistol, damaging the magazine beyond repair, and stinging the shooter's hand.
And my hand, because we were both on the gun.
We have seen cheap factory .40 ammunition break up in a barrel and hit the target as a bunch of fragments. So it just like blew into pieces before it even got to the target. As a result, we strongly suggest that you consider bringing only Winchester, Remington, Federal, or CCI Lawman series practice ammunition.
If you decided to bring some off-brand ammunition, despite our recommendation, and then that ammunition proved to be unsafe or unserviceable, or in some manner we felt couldn't use it, now what are you going to do? You've invested a lot of time and a lot of energy and money and gotten to this point. You don't want to have to become an observer.
And it's only 150 rounds for this class. It's
Yes.
3 boxes.
Now you go to Frontside, Nevada, basic pistol class is 1,500 rounds. And we get a lot of those people from Frontside come here. And we almost can't fix them. They practice their bad habits so over and over and over under stress on the timers and all that thing. They're just about done.
You're held responsible for every round you shoot. We learn from every fired shot that we have.
The amount of time and energy and ammunition it would take to correct one of those people, no one would ever do it. It would be cost prohibitive and time prohibitive. Once you go down that road over there and with that monster and start anticipating pushing that gun, it's just about a miracle to get you back.
Just one more time, we recommend the Winchester, Remington, Federal, or CCI Lawman series practice ammunition. For those who would like a specific ammunition recommendation, our favorite is 9mm practice ammunition is 147 grain CCI FMJ, meaning full metal jacket, followed by 147 grain Winchester, 147 grain FMJ. Any 115 to 147 grain FMJ 9mm from one of the 4 major manufacturers list above will suffice. This is on your equipment list.
Now, just to clarify, we say 115 to 147 is good to go, but we prefer the 147. In 9mm, most of the time, the only 9mm you're going to get with a flat nose is a 147. So if you store ammunition, you want to have a certain amount of practice ammunition on hand, which most of us do, it might as well be more effective. In other words, if the zombies come and you run out of hollow points and you go to your practice ammo, a flat nose bullet is way more effective in tissue than a round nose bullet. So that's one of the reasons we recommend the 147s as a general preference for practice ammo.
You'll cover this again in Pistol 1, but some people are probably not familiar with what the grain is.
Oh, yes. Grain is a unit of weight. It's there's
7,000.
7,000 grains to a pound. You got to remember that. I talk about this every couple of weeks, and I think, okay, give them the rest of it. Give up.
7,000 grains to a pound, so 437.5 grains per ounce.
437.5 is an ounce. So if you're talking about a 12-gauge shotgun slug, and it says 1 ounce slug, that means that projectile weighs 437.5 grains. It's just the weight of the bullet of the projectile. It's the weight of the projectile. It's a unit of measure, a unit of weight. Everybody understand? 7,000 grains to a pound. So 147 grain 9mm is going to have a heavier projectile than 115 grain 9mm. People always think it has something to do with powder. It has zero, zilch, nothing to do with powder. It has to do with the weight of the projectile itself. And the reason that matters is because if your gun is sighted in for 147 grain ammunition, and then you go try to shoot 115 grain ammunition, it's going to print to a different place. So a heavier bullet is going to shoot where? Higher or lower? Higher.
It's kind of.
It's not intuitive. A heavier bullet's going to shoot higher because, one, it's going to create more recoil, so the gun's going to start recoiling faster. Okay. Secondly, the bullet is going to be it's a slower bullet. A heavier bullet's a slower bullet. It's going to be in the barrel longer. It's going to have more dwell time in the barrel. That gives the gun more time to rotate. So the heavier bullet is going to shoot higher. The lighter bullet's going to get out of the barrel faster, and the barrel won't have as much time to rotate. And it's not going to be in the barrel as long. So the barrel will move less before that bullet gets out. So the shot will print lower. So if you want to switch bullet weights, you at least need to know that. So we suggest you just go with one and not worry too much about it. Sight your gun in for 147 grains, stock that, and you're good to go.
You did say something between 115 and 147. It's especially important in a rifle class, but just bring all of the ammunition of the same type, same bullet weight.
Yeah, if you change bullet weights in the middle of the class and all of a sudden you're shooting somewhere else, it's going to mess up all kinds of things. So you want to use the same kind of ammo all the way through the class. It's only 3 boxes of ammo. It's not like we're talking 1,500 rounds, right? 3 50-round boxes of ammo.
I just checked to get some, and the CCI lawman and the 147 was 21.30, so it's the same price as everything else. Wasn't any more expensive.
That particular ammunition isn't always easy to find. So if they have it available at that price, that's okay. Yeah.
That's for 50.
Yeah.
Yes. Questions? Okay, where are we, Stace?
We've covered the equipment list as far as all the items. So we'll open it up to questions. Anybody that's online or anybody here, if you haven't, I don't know, any more questions about the stuff. I did, when we're finished, if you want to come up here and look at some of the things. So if you're in the June class, was everybody able to open our email and get the equipment list yet? Okay, what?
One question online is they're wondering Hornady, is that okay? But I'm guessing Hornady is going to be more, that's fine, right?
Hornady's good.
Yeah, Hornady's pretty good. And then the other question is they wanted you to take a little bit of time online to take the gun and show like the fit of the gun, everything that you would do with everybody after this class.
Oh, okay.
Can you show that online so they can see? And when they go to a gun store, they can put their hand on it or where their finger goes. Everything just as well as you can show it online, that would be great.
Okay, well, I only hesitate about going to a gun store and doing that because that's not, it's not a, that takes some expertise. If you go to a gun store, your chances of being fitted to the right firearm is not very high.
What can we do to help the people online who cannot make it?
What can we do? I know we want to help you. I'm just because we've had this happen many times.
They'd be able to see what you're showing.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yes, you know what? We can show how to properly grip the stock and yes, where the web of your hand needs to be. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can do it right here, and if you zoom in, I suppose.
Yes.
That'd be the best way. We'll try it that way and see if it's helpful.
I got a question for you, class. Is a revolver a pistol? Can you call a revolver a pistol? Is that legitimate? You will.
Well, after
We hear this from our students all the time. They'll even correct you. They'll say, you'll call a revolver a pistol, and they'll say, oh, no, it's just a revolver. You can't call it a pistol. A pistol is a semi-automatic. Okay, Sam Colt, who invented the successful revolver, named his invention a revolving pistol. So what the hell does he know, right? But the kid who's selling socks last week at the store, this week he's selling guns, he knows everything. So there's a...
People on what a revolver is so they know.
Well, the revolver has multiple cylinders which rotate, and then each cylinder takes its turn in line with the barrel.
the cowboy guns. Yeah.
Yeah. Most people know the difference, but when somebody tries to correct you and say, well, that's not a pistol, it's a revolver. Well, it is a revolver, but it's also a pistol. In fact, before Sam Colt came along, there were single shot pistols, and what were they called? pistols. And in fact, the dueling pistols, pistol is an Italian word, and it means, what it meant was a firearm designed to be operated with one hand. The purpose of the handgun or the pistol was for cavalry, to supplement or even replace the saber. And so we called them pistols when they were single shots, but we can't call them pistols when they have revolving cylinders. But even though Sam Colt did, but we can call them auto pistols. Anyway, it's all nonsense. They're all pistols because they're all designed to be operated with one hand. Just
Okay.
some knowledge for you.
Any more questions before we go to how to properly grip the pistol? Or yes.
Is it okay to have a dump pouch on your belt?
Yes.
Yes.
So in other words, when you take your empty magazines out of the firearm, especially if you're running and gunning, you're doing a tactical type shooting. What do you do with those empty magazines? You don't want to discard them. In Vietnam, we never did speed loads. We always did tack loads. Because if you ejected that magazine and left it every time you reloaded, when you got resupply of ammunition, you had nowhere to put it. You had to keep those empty magazines on. I would use a Claymore bag, an empty Claymore bag. So the empty mags come out and go in the Claymore bag. So when I got resupplied with ammunition, I could go back and reload those magazines. Does that make sense? So, and he called it a dump pouch, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. That's fine. You can have, and a lot of our students will do that. They'll put some kind of a canvas bag or something on their belt and put their empty magazines.
Yeah, you can do that or put them in your pockets. You just don't put them back in your magazine holder.
Because they're not loaded anymore. Okay. Any other questions? That was a good question.
Okay.
All right.
So I can demonstrate and you can kind of talk through it. I was thinking we can do it right here and facing.
Sorry, another question.
Yes.
Water. About, do you provide any water, or how much do you recommend we bring?
On the list, it tells you that we suggest you bring about a gallon of water plus sports drinks every day.
Some electrolytes.
Yeah, we had a doctor in one of our classes and, we had all this water and he said, really, you guys should be drinking the sports drinks out here and a little bit of water. Because the water just flushes everything out. So you need to replenish with the sports drinks as well. So.
The sport drinks aren't the best electrolytes out there, just to let you know, because I studied this stuff. But we have 2 of them in the other room that are really good. You can stick in water and it actually gets you all the minerals you need. So Gatorade, not good.
Oh yeah, we don't do Gatorade, but.
Do you want to grab?
Okay.
And, one of them. So the ones we had one from Redmond, which is you guys know the Redmond salt, which is a really good company, and they made I think it's the best electrolyte mix I've ever seen. You just don't want to take a ton of it because it has a lot of magnesium in it, and then you'll be running and gunning, right, the whole time. But yeah, these are 2 different ones right here. You can come into the camera, but this one right here is by Redmond, and this one right here by Solid. This one you put in your cheek and just kind of suck on it, and it'll just add electrolytes for a while because you can absorb a lot from your cheek. So sometimes I'll take this right here and stick it in my cheek, and I'll just let it absorb over time instead of trying to drink it quickly.
And actually, let's face this way because they can see the trigger finger. And, you can talk me through it, like how to properly grip the pistol.
Sure.
Right? And then Marcelo, you can zoom in. And here I'm just simulating, because it's just habit, I'm chamber checking and making sure, seeing if it's loaded or unloaded.
When do you chamber check your firearm? Every
And
time
first-
you acquire physical control of
And
it?
does everybody know or have an idea what the chamber check is? Right, but how? And what
So you're gonna pinch the slide back just,
yeah, you just pinch it back just enough, just a little bit, so you can either see color or you see the empty chamber in there. You don't need, if you come back all the way, you're gonna create a malfunction or lock the slide back when you don't need to. Okay, and we'll definitely go over that, but
you will do
Now-
1,000 chamber checks in this
so
class.
I checked it, and so say, you know, I put it down, I answer a question, and I come back and I check it again. I set it down, I check it again. We're human, we make lots of mistakes, and you don't want to make any with this. So it just becomes a habit. You don't even think about it, you just do it. So,
You'll be working from the holster all the time. So when you reach back and get a hold of the pistol, you want to bring your hand down on the gun. You don't, most people come in from the side, and then when they push the gun out, there's an angle between the forearm and the muzzle. By coming down and sliding our hand up under the tang, we can get good alignment between our forearm and our muzzle. So when we
yeah.
punch the
So
gun out,
there's no gap. See, a lot of people will do this and you have gap. So he says when you come down onto the stock to grip the weapon, then the web of your hand needs to be all the way up under the tang here.
no gap.
Question. Will everybody learn to do it right-handed?
No, if you're left-handed.
I'm not left-handed.
Oh.
I'm left dominant.
Oh, so cross dominant.
You're right-handed?
Right-handed, left.
We're gonna start training you right-handed and right eye. Then we'll give you the option of right-handed, left eye. We'll try different things. But we're gonna start, we find that I've taken a number of students who were cross-dominant and had them switch to be right-handed instead of left or vice versa. What I found was right-handed shooters are very reluctant to shoot left-handed. Left-handed people who are left-handed are not very reluctant. They will shoot right-handed. So we will try several different things. And on the first range day, we'll get that worked out.
I tried left-handed.
See, but you didn't try with us. Here's the deal. Like we were doing a class at Wyatt's school, and one of the students was an administrator in the school. And she said, "Oh, I can't shoot an auto pistol. I have to shoot a revolver." We said, who told you that? "Oh, my son, he's a Green Beret, he knows everything, you know." Within 5 minutes, we had her running every gun on the table perfectly. It's not a matter of strength, it's a matter of technique, and it's not a matter of a lot of other things, it's a matter of technique. So we'll see what we can do. We'll work it out.
I'm just watching you with the right hand,
Uh-huh.
how to fit it, and that's why I wonder, is it always right hand?
No, people in this class, raise your hand if you're left-handed.
Okay.
They're going to be doing a mirrored image, right? Okay.
Well, and we can show you left-handed. We can show you, how to do stuff too. So we start with this part, the web of your hand. It needs to be up under the tang, not down here. So that's the first thing.
That creates leverage that's going to work against you. It's going to exaggerate the muzzle jump.
And then also, you notice where my trigger finger is up along the frame. It's not anywhere in or around the trigger guard. It's always straight and up on the frame. Sometimes you'll see people kind of like that. That's not okay. It needs to be up and like touching the frame.
A lot of people use the term index. Index your finger on the frame.
Okay. And then you were going to be talking me through it.
Oh, I
Ron?
was.
Are you trying to confirm whether
Well,
or not
just
your
how- okay,
hand
so-
fits the gun? You can reach the trigger with a proper grip.
Yes.
And the barrel is still lined up with your
Yes, and I'll switch sides. Okay, so also this way, you can see that my thumb is able to go completely around the left side of the stock, and my finger It sits comfortably along the frame. Also, you don't want to turn your hand around and have a lot of thumb on this side and not enough trigger finger on the right side. That's not enough finger there. So it's another reason you need to make sure this sits and in line, just like Larry said, it's in line. Your wrist and your forearm are in line. The 3 fingers, your 3 fingers down here are wrapped around the stock. Yeah, you want to make sure. So if your hand is too small and you can't get your fingers around the stock, and say your trigger finger is not quite long enough and you can't get the pad of your index finger, the middle of the pad, so you're not shooting with the tip of your trigger finger, and you're not shooting on the first crease in the knuckle, you know, the crease here. You're shooting the middle pad part of your trigger finger. So you want to make sure when you're gripping the stock. So we say gripping, this is a stock, it's not a grip. So you're not gripping the grip, you're gripping the stock of the weapon. So we will also send you a whole thing on terms. So, because it's really important you use the proper terms. So this is what a proper fit of the firearm should look like. So on this side, again, I have the web of my hand up under the tang. My thumb is, you know, on the left side of the stock, and on my hands, I mean, I can touch my fingers. Ideally, this is a Glock 17. It's a full-size Glock 17. I mean, the dummy version. But, and this right here, where your trigger, and this is also what it should look like here. Is there somebody in the class right here that has really small hands? Because we can kind of show what small hands look like. Okay, you two come up here really quick. Let me see who has the smaller hands. Okay, yeah, put your hand up to hers. Okay, perfect. Sorry to shock you. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so we'll show an example of someone that her hands might be a little too small for this weapon. So I'm just checking it. Okay, so keep your finger, your right hand. Oh, you're left-handed? That's fine. Okay, let's go. We'll start out. Okay, good, yeah.
Shouldn't have played her. Her shoulder's the other way. Right? She's right-handed, right shoulder back.
She's left. Yeah. Well, I'm working on this right now, the grip. So we're not working on stance or anything right now. I'm just trying to show her grip on the stock, what a small, like if your hands are too small.
I know.
Oh, okay. Well, then you got to help talk me through it, because I'm just trying to.
Blade yourself with your left shoulder back and your right
your left shoulder back, yeah.
Slightly, just slightly. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Okay, let's see. Get this little bit.
Nice and high. So
yeah, right under there. Okay.
High as you can get it.
Okay.
Pad of the finger on the trigger if you can reach it.
Yep. See, so when her finger goes on the trigger, it's not quite enough, not quite enough finger.
Block 43 smaller.
Turn 180 to see your hand.
Yes. Keep this up. Yep. Perfect. Okay. You can see, and then her thumb wraps around, and her pinky just barely wraps around here, but it's not quite enough finger on that trigger. That's a big deal there. You don't want that. So that's if your hands, okay, I'll take that. Did everybody kind of get to see that?
Smaller gun.
Yes. Wait, let's go try a 48. We got a 48.
Okay, we do. So
This is a Glock 48. If you're not familiar with it, it's another 9mm, but it's a smaller frame gun. It's the Glock 43 with a little bit more barrel and slide, and a magazine stack and a half. It holds a little bit more ammo than the 43.
Okay, so this one is a real firearm, but it is completely unloaded, but we are not, we're going to keep this in a safe direction. Okay. I'm going to close the slide. But I close the slide. Now I need to chamber check it. Okay. So now put your left hand on there. Wrap all these 3 fingers around. Okay. You got your thumb. Now just don't press it, but put your finger on the trigger. See if that. That's a little. That's not quite.
Adjust your grip a little bit.
Okay. Now try to put your finger on the trigger. How's that? Yeah. She's got it. Look on that side and check it.
Just barely.
So this is a Glock 48. It's a single stack. The stock is a little skinnier. So.
Okay, go ahead and sit down. Thank you. So for the most part, when we find people who have difficulty reaching the trigger in a proper grip with a Glock 22, we put them on a Glock 48 and
Or you mean the Glock 17? The 22 is a 40 caliber.
Yeah, but it's the same size.
I know.
Anyway, we put them on this gun, and usually it fits them pretty good. Can I see your hand? Step up. Try the other one. This hand.
Only a slight difference.
So yes, so you have a small hand even for your size, right? In other words, if we took 100 people that were your height, probably 2/3 of them would have a little bit bigger hand. You're really at a difficult point there trying to reach that trigger. But we'll have to talk about some another possibility would be a Glock 42. You familiar with that? The problem is you're going down in caliber now. You're going down to 380. But it is a smaller gun, and we might check.
But for the purposes of training and learning marksmanship and everything, we've had people come through the class with 380.
I'm wearing a Glock 42 right now. You don't have to be embarrassed.
And I have a 380 on my ankle right now because for women, that's one thing I didn't talk about tonight, and it comes up in every class is, well, when we're finished with the training, what's the best way for women to carry? And it pretty much boils down to an ankle holster. Unless you want to dress like
a lumberjack,
I usually say, or it's winter and we're not wearing jackets, if you want to dress in layers, but even dress like this for women, it's really hard to conceal. So I just have an ankle holster. And I've tried some bigger guns and it really becomes cumbersome and it's hard. And you have to buy pants that are like boot cut or flare or bell bottoms. I have lots of cute clothes in my closet and I wear them once in a while, but most of the time this is how I dress so that I can carry. And the thing is too, you're limited to the kind of shoes. You have to wear like a tennis shoe because otherwise the ankle holster will come down and it'll cut right at the top of your foot and it's not very comfortable. So now people ask about purses. Yeah, you can do a purse, but that's a... Oh,
Can you show the
show it
on
again?
the chair again?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's just, yeah. This is the ankle holster. And, you can move it around however, it's comfortable. And I won't lie. I mean, I do adjust this from time to time throughout the day because even though it's Velcro, it kind of, as you're walking, it vibrates and loosens a little bit. And then it starts to kind of be wiggling and you're like, but it's better than nothing. Once you're used to carrying, and especially being in certain areas when you're not carrying, it's very uncomfortable to to not carry. So I rather, a lot of times people say, oh, well, my gun's in my center console and it's too much of a burden. It's a little uncomfortable. I don't want to carry, men and women. And so it's just, I've had nightmares about not carrying, like the one time I didn't carry, and having nightmares. So
Sure. I'm sorry. Sure. I thought you were.
I'd rather deal with a little bit of the burden and the uncomfortableness sometimes.
Sheriffs and police chiefs all over the country beg you, don't leave your gun in your car. Do you know where criminals get their guns? Cars. The number one source of guns for criminals to use in crime is they break into cars, and there's a certain percentage of cars that'll have a gun. So maybe they go out and break in 5 or 6 cars tonight, and they'll find that gun they were looking for, and they're ready to go. Why do people leave their guns in their cars? I mentioned this last week. We have 100 million gun owners, 400 million guns, and very few self-defense shootings. Why? I'm sorry?
Because they don't have the guns with them.
Yeah, because there's too much trouble to wear a gun. That's why I would rather if somebody goes to, for example, I've got a neighbor across the street. He's been to all kinds of schools. He's been to a number of 5-day combat schools. And I'd see him once in a while. I say, what are you carrying today? Well, I'm not carrying anything. It's too much bother. I said, you need a smaller gun. If your gun is too much bother to carry, then get a smaller gun. If you end up with a 380 and a spare magazine, you're ahead of 99% of the population.
But again, I would like to carry a higher caliber gun, but this is all I can do, and it's better than nothing. And shot placement is more important than not carrying a gun. And then what do we usually say? Oh yeah, then the caliber sometimes. You can have a higher caliber and not have good shot placement.
As Larry mentioned earlier, a hit with a 22 is way better than a miss with a 44
Yes.
mag.
Yes. So I'm like, this is what I can do. I'll go with it. So,
And
any questions from people online? Do we have anything? Did we answer their questions as far as showing like the proper fit?
So let me follow through a little bit with this. In order to see if the gun fits you, you line the gun up with your forearm. Bring it all the way, the tang, your hand all the way up under the tang, like so, and then touch the pad of your finger to the trigger. And everything, you should be able to reach that. If you can't reach it, it's not fitting you.
Yeah,
The
should be
guns-
able to reach that.
You need to be able to reach that trigger right there.
If you're, again, we talked about it, if you're like this, that's not good.
And on the subject of gripping the gun, by the way, I have no doubt many of you were taught to grip the pistol with 2 thumbs on the support side, like so.
Yes.
Can you see my thumbs? See how my thumbs are? Anybody taught to grip the pistol like that? 2 thumbs on the side, like so?
Is it called parallel thumbs? Have you
Yes.
heard that?
One of the names for it.
Parallel thumbs.
We now have about in excess of a dozen law enforcement shootings because now cops have a camera right here. Whatever they do with that gun and whatever that gun does, it's all recorded. And now we can see what's going on in all these gunfights, much more than we could a few years ago. And here's what we see. 2 thumbs forward, hit the bottom of the slide lock lever and recoil, lock the gun up. Induce a malfunction. 2 thumbs forward, hit the magazine release and recoil, eject the magazine in the middle of the gunfight. I saw one gunfight, I'm watching this, I can hardly believe it. The guy ejects his magazine, tries to shoot, gets a misfire, realizes what happened, picks the magazine up, reloads again, shoots and ejects the magazine again. Maybe your grip is lacking. In fact, when people complain about, oh, this gun or that gun, it's reliability, what we really are looking at is these are self-induced malfunctions. The overwhelming majority of malfunctions with our modern semi-automatic pistols are caused by the shooter. Generally, how he's holding the gun. So we're in class, when we do our all-day classroom, we're going to show you all kinds of pictures. People injured because they're not gripping the pistol properly. So, and you don't have to know everything in the world about grip right now. We're just introducing you to this. We're going to spend a lot of time in class with videos and PowerPoint, and you're going to have a really thorough understanding of all of this. This is just kind of getting your feet wet.
Yeah, because some of you still have to, get some guns. So
Yes.
we want to make sure that, but please don't, please call us. I mean, if you send us an email, we try to keep up on the emails, but for those of you that are in the June class, and there is a time crunch here on getting the right firearm and the holster, please talk to us. Don't just go to a gun store and just pick something that feels good in your hand. Please don't do that. It's usually not the right gun for you. So we're happy. We want everybody to have the right stuff, the best stuff for you, so that you'll have the best experience. You'll have a wonderful experience in our class.
We had a couple come to our class, and what we did is they were really neophytes, and we decided to meet with them ahead, kind of like what we did here, what we're doing here. So they came to the house, and they have these pistols. They're CZ75s, I think they were. Anyway, they're double action trigger cocking guns, very complex manual of arms. And we said, how did you pick these guns? We went to an indoor range, and we rented like 5 different kinds of guns and a couple boxes of ammo. And then we shot these guns, and then we decided we liked the way these fit our hand better. They do have good ergonomics, I'll grant you that. So I said, okay, first, I want the husband to decock the gun. In other words, you just fired, it's cocked, push the decocking lever down and decock the gun. I can't use 2 hands. Oh, okay. He had to use 2 hands to uncock the gun. That's unsat. That's not okay. I can't even remember and we told the wife, I want you to cock the gun with the trigger. Couldn't do it. I said, if you would have written down a criteria for the worst possible gun that would never work for you, you found it. So what expertise did you evaluate these guns through? You decided these were going to work for you. What experience are you filtering this use of these guns? None. Well, the guy in the gun shop, yeah, he was selling socks last month. He may or may not know anything about guns. Working in a gun shop does not ensure that you know anything.
And I was just going to say, I mean, we're not knocking people who work in the gun shop. I mean, there are really good people that do know their stuff, but we've just had a lot of students, unfortunately, get with some of the people that don't. They have good intentions, but they don't have the expertise to help the students. So, like I said, we have, it's been a while since we've been to Gunnies, but we knew the crew at Gunnies, and for a long time would recommend our students go there because those guys did know what they were talking about. So, like I said, I just don't want you to get the wrong idea because we just kind of keep bringing up the unfortunate situations, but
But how do you know? If you're the
Exactly.
customer, how do you vet this guy? How do you know that he knows anything about firearms? Just that he works there? So, questions?
okay.
All right.
So if anybody, oh yes, okay, come see us on your way out and just make sure if you have some specific questions you just want to wait until after.
Is there anybody else who wants to check their hand size against the gun? Okay, so.
Okay, yeah, and we can do that after. And actually, really quick, I just want to make sure and confirm. So for the June people, and actually everybody, just because the store made these amazing spreadsheets for us. I just love it. It's been super helpful. And I just want to kind of follow up on it. So we got David King, Jordan Eves. Who's Jordan? Is he here tonight or is he online? Okay. Christian Geddes? Okay. Okay. Brad Clausen. Okay, perfect. Stephen and Sharice Marks. Okay. And also because we have a waiting list, and I just also want to confirm and make sure, obviously if you're here tonight, I'm assuming you're still committed and you want to be in the class. And Brian Lindsay, okay. Eric Hammond, and Jed and Caroline. Oh, Jed and Caroline, okay. Perfect, okay. And Jared and Caroline, if you can see me after, all right?
And I
Okay,
have
well,
one- I have one more.
okay, Larry has one more thing, and then we can conclude and meet
If
with
you
people
haven't
after.
purchased, if you're still looking to purchase a firearm, we recommend a striker fired gun that does not have a manual safety or a manual decocker. And one of the reasons that we tend to lean toward Glock, and the reason we've gone to a lot of Glocks ourselves, is because the aftermarket for Glocks, you can get anything. There's tremendous industry out there to provide you with any upgrades that you might want or modifications. And the other thing is, it's kind of like becoming the people's gun. It's very, very common. It's the most common in law enforcement. The FBI just went and bought Glocks again this time around. But just for comparison, the military went with the SIG. But the reason they did that was there were several. But when they found out that the FBI tested the SIG and it failed the environmental test. In other words, when they got it dirty, it didn't work. So when the military got ready to do their test, they took the environmental test out of the protocols and then bought the SIG because that's what they wanted. So
Why would they do that?
Well, I can't say, I can just say that whoever's in the department who studies such things had already made their mind up that they wanted the SIG. One of the reasons it's modular. And they could do some things with it, we can make it little and use it for undercover. We can make it big and use it for uniform. And so they had decided up front that that's what they were going to do. So and the other thing is the SIG underbid Glock. You know how they did that? The price they put it in for, and this Army was about to find out, was just the frame. So they were able to underbid everybody. Interesting.
Oh, and just really quick, in the July class, who's in the July class? Who here signed up for the July class? You're August? Okay. And nobody here for the July. Okay. Are you John and Vicky? Oh. Okay. Oh, yes. Yep. You guys are here. You're on August. Uh-huh. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Well, and again, thank you so much, everybody, and all of those who joined us online. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
So please come see us if you have some questions.
Let's see.
Side by size, and also, let's see, we had our daughter pay.
No, you're good. You're good. You definitely go with the Glock 17. Yes, I
Oh, okay. Who's your daughter?
Well, you could, but
Did you see one? She's
yeah,
the
in
one
fact,
through.
hey, Ron,
Okay.
Yes.
And then
where did
I say
the
where you
Glock
guys are?
service
You're right
pistol
here.
that's
Yeah.
up from
Okay.
the 17?
You know, I will look. Well, and it
34,
says
something?
check
34?
because
Thirty-four?
they
Yeah,
wrote
get a
the list
34.
for us. So
It comes
let
with
me
a
take
better
this
trigger.
off. Yeah.
It's more accurate. It's going to be easier to shoot. It's a little bigger gun, but so what? It's going to be for home. You're going to keep it in a lockbox.
That would have been.
Right, it's
so
gonna
you
be a
would
home
get
defense
that.
gun and a training
So
gun.
you would have had to.
Yeah, 34.
Well, right, so I
Get
need to
rid
cross
of
out
it.
check, because I looked for check. So I'm just gonna write the daughter.
Yes.
And I'll look it up.
That will, yeah, I checked you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're really small. I'm thinking,
And when do we pay for the?
I hate to change calibers on you now. The Glock 32 is what I'm carrying right now.
So, yeah,
It's gonna fit your hand better than anything else.
so check it out.
And it's not a 9mm, it's a 380. But you're gonna enhance the gun by doing some things I'm gonna tell you to do. You're gonna buy, wait a second,
So you already did.
give me a second.
It'll be two.
Hey Ron, I'm sorry.
Right.
Hey Ron, I'm sorry to interrupt. The magazines that I'm using on Glocks now, what are they?
Hives.
Hive, HIV,
HY.
HYVE, Hive magazines. That'll give you 2 more shots in the gun. So instead of 7, you'll have 9.
675 times 2.
See what else? And you can put tritium night sights on the gun if you want to be able to aim it in the dark. And they're not too expensive. Anybody can put them on. Any gunsmith, any store. Put them on.
9
So, that's what I'm carrying now.
Okay. So there's no way I can use my blocks.
Right.
42. There's no way you can teach me.
And we make it to marksmanship matters.
I need I live out in Saratoga Springs.
Yeah.
I'd really
And
like either you to come to your
We
house.
want to
Sorry, I'm not
try
trying
to
to be
get
opposed,
the fit.
or you to come to my house to look at the gun.
Well, I have a bunch of them.
Okay,
I'm very familiar with the gun.
okay, yeah, of course.
Oh, that would be
And I'm really familiar with your hand size.
Yeah,
The gun is going to be a little big for you.
it is gonna be big.
You can look at that.
Could it be doable? Perhaps. Now, what we've got is we're into smaller guns.
These are like
Smaller
Glock
hands.
17s. This is
Smaller the gun, the more quick, the harder it is to shoot.
Yeah.
By going to the 380, we're going to cut that recoil down.
Yeah.
If we go with 9mm and a small gun that small, it's going to be snappy. You might handle it just fine. There's no way to know except to do it. If you wanted to take the course for that gun, we'll do everything we can to make it work. But we will also tell you to get the
17 or a
different
22.
magazines for that gun too. 5, HYVE. They're about $55 a piece, and I've got about 40 of them.
You're good.
They're that good.
Okay, okay,
So, but be in touch with me, and we'll make sure you get the exact right stuff.
okay, yeah.
And if you want to do, let's say you say my 34 is going to be my home defense, my big gun.
17.
And we can do some things to make it more controllable, despite the size.
Yeah, I have.
And then your carry gun would be a 32.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
or 380.
All right, oh, thanks.
You're a brave lady coming in and trying to do this.
I really do want to do this.
Well, we want you. We need more Americans like you to be ready to protect their families.
Yeah. It's just me.
I promise what you do, because you probably try to muscle it all
My
with
nephew
one
really
hand and
wants me
hold
to
it
take
with this
this
hand, right? So what you do
Because I've had this block.
Who's your nephew?
Name is
like
Devin
you go
Abel.
the opposite.
He's not been through the course himself?
And do it
Not
like
with
full
you
from your
guys,
body.
but he
For
has
something,
a friend.
but
He
kind of
carries.
lock the side of- we will go
Devin,
over all
he's
of
a
it.
nice
A lot of
dude.
people
He
think
was out walking his dog in the Harriman Park, parks you live
possibly
by.
do for 8
And there
hours.
was stabbing.
Not even shooting.
And they
But
held
we
him
should
up,
have
and
our
Devin
gun
had to
by
lay
day
his
1
gun.
or by
Cops
day
know my nephew. And they say, good on by
Yes,
day 2.
and it also it doesn't matter generation,
He said,
three, generation
"You ought to be
4,
here."
it doesn't matter.
Yes. One thing to be cautious of. Our neighbors, block away,
We didn't
husband
talk
and wife.
about the sights.
She comes through the
You
school
don't have to
first.
have night sights on it. Some
Then
people
she's
ask,
at
"Do you
home
have
and he
time?
takes
Do you
out the
want to put
gun
night
and
sights on it?"
starts handling that unsafely. She says, whoa,
The other thing,
that's wrong.
but just go
You
with the
don't
sights that
handle
I
the
have
guns
on.
until you get this class. Well, you can imagine the fight that led to. So you got to be careful when one family member is trained at a very professional, high level,
Yep.
and one's
It's a little bit shorter.
self-taught.
Yeah.
Because the trained person is going to see the problems with the other
It
person.
can still be
And
fully
then what do you
accurate,
do?
but
Are you going to let them endanger your life, or are you going to say something? You know, so you always want to try to get the other person to attend the training too, so that you're on the same sheet.
It is.
Okay.
So a lot of the men will.
I'll tell him. I asked him if he wanted to come
Harriet
tonight.
in the field.
He has 4 kids and he's married, so.
Do you have a 19 already?
This is your son?
No, he's my nephew.
Yeah, I didn't think you were
So I
that
would
old.
still,
I'm
if you can,
63.
No way.
Next week I'll be 6.
Um,
Sunday I'll be 64.
So
Oh,
later.
I would have never guessed. I'm 77.
Well,
Are you?
so for
I
you,
was
like, how do you, if you
I
want
thought
to dress
maybe
like that,
65.
it's gonna be difficult for you, because Block 19 is still
Yes.
pretty big.
Well, you haven't
It'll
seen
be
me
difficult for you to.
except beat up by the doctors, you know.
Right. Well, so Larry usually,
Well,
okay, shoulder surgery,
We're
but usually
good.
he wears an undershirt.
You're awesome.
And
I
then.
You
look
too.
forward. And if you want to start with
You know,
that
like
gun,
in the summer and wears the
I would
white
still
shirt.
get the carry gun.
His wardrobe completely.
And then if you
revolves
find
around
that
Harry
it's not
said.
working, you can change
So-
over.
Okay. Sounds good.
Start with the 17.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Bye-bye.
You know, it's.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna be your challenge student, right?
Hello, sir.
I don't think she will be. She's actually a good shot.
Why would you be a challenge student?
Because
I see distance, so when I take my, I can see close without glasses.
No,
Can't see
Tracy
distance.
follows my lead.
My left eye, I'm right-handed.
Do this in the future, I guess that the bigger
It's called,
her hands.
Okay.
so I can't see distance
I
on
have-
that, but
Yeah, she.
One in every 5 students is cross-dominant, and I've trained thousands of people.
Okay,
So
good.
how many cross-dominant people have I
Okay.
trained?
A lot.
A few of them I've had them shoot with the other hand. So you're right-handed, you're
I'm
left.
right-handed.
We will probably have you try out some right.
Right-handed, left.
I
dominant.
just, yes, I was checking it last week at class, and then I went home and
You know,
we did
read the
go in
same
there.
thing, they will, because they'll say,
And
I got 5
left, and
less
they
than
said that
that
many
meetings, and
Oh,
only
yeah, you're left.
and.
I know, but right hand,
Oh, right hand.
How did you shoot it?
Those guns, they're okay.
I tried shooting left-handed with my, and it's awkward. 'cause
Sure.
I actually could see the target, I could hit the can, but,
They're still.
but it's not
What
comfortable.
we do is going to be very scientific.
Okay,
In other words, we have certain options available to us. So we'll start with one option, see how that works out. We'll try another option. Example, another case I use. One of my instructors at LAPD comes to me and says, this kid here, I hope I didn't tell you this story. This kid, this recruit right here,
On the stock,
he's one of my recruits. He says, he's going to fail. And he can't even hit paper. He's not even hitting the backboard.
you mean,
I said, well, that sounds like an eye dominance issue, right?
yeah,
So he said, would you look at this kid and see if you can figure it out?
those,
I said, okay. So I tell him, give me 6 shots.
it's just.
Low
Kind
fire,
of has
no
the
time limit.
necessary
He doesn't
stuff,
hit the
like I said,
backstop.
the top is.
I said, all right, kid,
bulky or it's kind of
you're
like
cross-dominant, right?
kind of
Yeah. You're right-handed
And
and
when
you're
you're trying
left
to
eye
lock
dominant, so you're
wide open,
shooting
you have to make sure that
cross,
the-
you're shooting
down that
cross-dominant.
safety widens
I
up
said,
when you're
I
trying
want you to
touch
aim
the
with your
round
right
in
eye.
hand.
But sir, my instructor said I had to aim with my dominant eye. I said,
Wide open.
bullshit.
It's just
That is a
kind of
fallacy.
dumb.
I said, I said,
That's where the
humor
stuff
me,
on it. But
just try it.
a lot of times we'll have
He put
maybe
next 6 shots
quarter,
go
a
in the
third of our
bullseye
class
With the
people will
right
have
eye?
Smith
with the
and
right eye.
Wesson.